Hey everybody, Big Toad here, and welcome to my studio. I took a trip out to take a picture of this mountain. I've got a couple pictures, and that's going to be the subject of my next painting. It's a commission for somebody to go right on their wall. Already know exactly where it's going to be hung. So I've actually, uh, the design of this painting is composed for that very specific place in this house. So I'll talk about that as I get into the painting. But let's go ahead and see what I've done so far. So I've spent about 2 or 3 weeks doing research on what I was going to do with this painting, this 3 foot tall by 6 feet wide painting. And I got a piece of MDF and I built a frame for it. And when I'm talking about a frame, I'm not talking about a picture frame, but a frame to go on the back of this because I didn't want to use like a 3/4 inch MDF. It'd be way too heavy to hang on a wall. It's going to be like 70 pounds or 80 pounds or something like that with a 3/4. So I went with only a 3/16, and so I shorted up behind with some timber, some wood, some 1x4s to make it solid so it would be stiff and wouldn't break easily. So that's what I did first. I built that out, glued and stapled it. And then I treated that panel with 3 coats of gesso, nice heavy coats of gesso. And I rolled it on with a roller. And then I washed it down with yellow ochre because the core color, the primary color of this painting is going to be yellow and yellowish hues. So I just wanted to start off with the yellow. And it's a little brighter than maybe I should have. I should have probably tried to thin it out a little bit more or to take some of the chrome out, but I just took the yellow ochre right out of the tube, painted it on with very loose with paint thinner, and then wiped it down immediately, almost in one motion. Here's a quick time lapse of me working on that. Got the gesso down. Now I'm just putting on the yellow ochre, thinned out really good with paint thinner, and I put it on and wipe it off immediately, giving it no time to set. And that gives me a nice bright yellow background, which is unusual. Normally you do just a wash like this, you're going to go with maybe a burnt sienna or a burnt umber or some more earthy color, but the whole tone of this painting is going to be yellows, like I was saying. So I wanted that base. I went ahead and also did the edges. I'm not sure whether we're going to build a custom frame for this when I'm done with the painting, or we're just going to hang it with the painted edges. So I did gesso the edges, and I did cover those with the yellow ochre as well. So I'm going with a pretty dark block in for the mountain. And I am using a palette knife. I wanted the effects of the palette knife for the back of the mountain. What I'm using to mix here is ultramarine blue, which I just squirted some of that out. And I also would put in some Naples yellow. It's a color I specifically bought just for this painting. I don't normally use Naples yellow, but I felt like that would be a good color. It's a low chroma yellow. It's a light yellow, and I think it was a perfect choice. Now that I've been working with it on this painting, I think it's gonna work really nice. And then there's the alizarin crimson. So that's the 3 colors I use, and I mix those to create the purple that I'm using for the mountain. It's dark. I'm going to lighten that up. I just wanted that nice dark base to go on. So when I go back in with a brush, I've got that dark purple coming through. Now that right there is what I'm showing you. That's just the Naples yellow and the ultramarine blue, which gets you kind of close to a turquoise greenish blue, which is really nice. I was thinking I could use that in some ocean scenes as well. Like I said, if I wanted yellow Naples type color, I always mixed it down from my cadmium yellows that I have. Now, this is a very specific mountain that all the locals in my area would recognize. So I'm being very careful to maintain the silhouette of that mountain on top. That silhouette's very recognizable. So I'm working that palette knife real close to the edge, real carefully. And you can see I drew that in with pencil. And I created a grid of the photo so that I could measure out and draw that ridge line as perfectly as possible. So I'm very careful to maintain that. So here's the photo where I drew the grid. It gave me enough detail in that grid to kind of map out my painting. So I took a lot of extra time to really get that silhouette as perfect as possible. So this mountain outside of Emmett, Idaho, not far from where I live, for well over 100 years, probably, man, 150 years maybe, was called Squaw Butte. And it was renamed recently to a more of an Indian name to reflect the original Indian tribes that lived in this area in Idaho. So what is the new name of this? Now I'm going to try to pronounce this properly, but I'm sure I'm going to get it wrong. Sahiwoki Niwinini at Kitet. That's the best I can do. And that was horrible. So what does it mean in English? In English, that means people of the willow standing in a row butte. Now, the original name was Squaw Butte. All the locals just called it the Butte. So we will probably continue calling it the Butte locally. But now it has a real Native American name, which is appropriate and it's kind of cool. But it's going to take a long time for us locals to figure out how to pronounce that. So it was a pretty simple block in. Took me probably longer than it would have if I would have used a brush, but I wanted the effect behind there of the knife. And I also plan to do the sky with the palette knife. So this gave me a chance to really work on my palette knifing skills before I loosened up and got into the sky itself. Okay, well, that's enough for this video. My next step will be to block in the sky, except I'm going to go for more of a finished look on the sky. So that should be a video coming out quickly, and I think you'll like that. A little more action in that video. So for now, this is a Big Toad, and I am out.